Morning everyone, I'm Claire and this is
Chris.
and we're here to talk about one of the other senses today. So this week we've been learning about different senses that we have for hearing, for tasting, for seeing and for smelling. And today we're going to learn about feeling and touch. So what do you think we use most for feeling things? Do I use my eyes?
No.
Do I use my nose?
No, don't be silly.
Do I use my ears?
No, now you're being really silly.
Oh, I know. I use my fingers.
That's right.
So now we've worked out what our fingers can do in terms of touching, let's think about what else they do. So we use our hands and our fingers quite a lot. We use them for picking things up. We use them for holding things like an ice cream. We use them for scratching when we have an itch. So they're really, really useful, our fingers. But they're also really, really special because on the end of our fingertips here, these little pads are very, very clever at feeling things. Now, our whole body can feel things, you know that. If you put your toe in the sea, it feels cold. And if a mosquito bites you, it feels really, really itchy. I really like to feel with my whole body when I cuddle one of my children. So all of our body can feel things, but our fingers play an extra special role because of those special little pads on the end there. So now that we've worked out what we use most for feeling and touching, we're going to try and draw them. And this is where Chris comes in again. So shall we go and draw our fingers,
let's go and
Chris?
do that.
So there's one really good way, a cheating way really, of drawing your fingers and your hands. And Chris is going to show us how to do that. And that's to draw around them on a piece of paper. So, over to you, Chris.
Here we go. Now, I've got quite big hands. You might be able to get both of your hands on one piece of paper, but I'm not going to be able to do that. So first of all, I'm going to draw around this hand, which is my right hand. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm going around every finger. There we are. And this one's not really a finger, that's my thumb, but there we go. Right, so that's one hand. It looks a bit funny, doesn't it, when you draw it? Now I'm going to put that on that side. And I'm going to draw around my other hand. So I'm going to have to swap my pen over and put it in the other hand, which is a bit difficult, but we should be able to do it. Right, so we'll start around there and we'll go around that finger and that finger. Then my middle finger and then this finger and then round my thumb last of all and all the way back down to my wrist. There. Now, if I put the cap back on the pen, we can put my hands next to each other, like that, and that's my two hands. Now, shall we count how many fingers we've got? Let's start at the beginning. Maybe you can count with me. We'll start here, and what we'll do is we'll write the number at the top of each one as we go. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now onto the other hand. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. See, I've got 10 fingers. And if I look down at my feet, I think I've got 10 toes as well, but we don't want to look at my feet today. So we'll just assume that's right. Okay, so there we go. Let's just make that into my wrist. There are my 10 fingers on both hands. So what's next, Claire?
So can you also write your name on your pictures, Chris?
I always forget that, don't I? Let me get a pen. Let's write it at the top so that it's out of the way. Chris. We'll write it on both.
Good job.
Chris. There we go.
Well done, that's fantastic. So children, why don't you now find a piece of paper and a pencil or some colouring pencils and draw around your hands. What you could also do is to draw around the hands of someone else in your house, and then you can decide which is bigger and which is smaller. Who's got the biggest hands in your house? So press the pause button now and come back to us when you've done that. Hello again. So now that we've worked out that it's our fingers that we use mostly for touching and feeling things, we're going to think about what we actually do feel when we use our fingers. So can you think of some different feelings that you get when you touch things? I've been wandering around my house and found a few things that touch very different. So something like a stone feels quite rough. And my glass of water, when I put my finger in it, is wet. And this, that we use for cleaning the pots and pans, is really, really scratchy. So there are lots of different feelings and senses that we get when we touch things. Can you think of some different ones that I haven't thought of? I'm sure there are lots. Chris, can you help me out with this?
Yes, I'm going to draw 2 pictures now of things in our house. I'm going to draw one in each hand.
That's a
See
good
if you
idea.
can guess what they are. Right, let's do this one first. This is something that I use every day and it feels quite hard. Can you guess what that is?
I think that's a cup, because you have a cup of tea every morning.
That's right, that's my cup. And it's even the right colour because I use a blue cup in the morning.
So how does that feel when you touch it?
That feels hard when you touch it. And the tea that's inside it feels hot and it feels wet. Right, now my
Those
other
are
hand.
really, really good describing words.
Now.
Well done.
Sitting next to me while I'm drawing is Flick the dog. Can you see Flick, boys and girls? How do you think Flick feels? He's brown, so I'm going to draw him brown, even though my hand's brown as well. So we'll draw Flick the same as yesterday. There's his body and his back legs and his head with his ears and his tail. So that's Flick the dog. How do you think Flick feels? There's a few words you can use to describe Flick. He feels furry and he feels soft and he feels warm. And he likes it when someone strokes him, he rolls over so he can be tickled.
But if he gets grumpy, his teeth feel very sharp.
That's right, yes, I think that's right. They would feel sharp.
So, children, now it's your turn. Can you find some things in your house that feel different and draw one on each of your hands? Press the pause button now and then come back when you've done it. Hi children, did you enjoy doing that? I bet you found some really fun things. So now we're going to try and remember what the words are that we've been learning this week. Can you remember them? Shout them out. So the words are the, and, is, and you. Chris, can you write a sentence on your pieces of paper that use those words?
I can.
Describe what's in your drawing.
I can.
What are you going to write?
I'm going to write how these things feel because that will use most of the... No, I'm going to use this. Because that will use most of those words. So, can you remember what I said the cup felt like? I said the cup felt hard. So we'll write a sentence under here. The cup is hard. The
Very
cup
good.
is hard. Right, now, what did we say about Flick? Flick wasn't hard, was he? Flick was the opposite of hard. Let's use green for this. The dog is soft.
Brilliant. That's really good. Using all the words and putting in some descriptions as well. So your turn now, children. Can you write some sentences on your pieces of paper to describe what you've drawn? Press the pause button and then come back. Okay, we've done so much learning today, children, and you've worked so hard. Now we're going to play a game. I love playing games. So, what I've done is to put some things in this bag, and Chris doesn't know what's in here. So he's going to put his hand in the bag He's not allowed to look, and he has to guess what it is that I've put in there. So off you go, Chris. Put your hand in and see what you can feel.
Ooh, I can feel something that's hard with lots of spiky bits on it, and it's long and flat. I think that's a comb that you use for combing your hair.
Oh, yes.
Can we take it out and have a look?
Let's do that.
Yes, I was
Well
right.
done.
That's
Give me
a
that
comb. Right, I think there's
What
some more
else is in
things in
there?
here. Ooh, there's something here it feels a little bit cold. It's made of metal, and it's a little bit dished at one end with a kind of a handle. I think that's a spoon that you can use for eating your cereal.
You're good at this game.
I'm good, yeah, that's right.
Keep going, there's a few more.
Now, there's something that feels really weird in here. It's all kind of rubbery and it's got bits on the end of it.
Ooh.
Ah, but I can count. There are 5 bits, so that tells me what it is. I think it's a rubber glove.
Yay! That feels a bit...
How many more things? Oh, there's a couple more things. Ooh, this one's interesting. This one feels papery. Can you guess what it is, children, when I say it feels papery and it's hard on the outside? I think it's a book.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a notebook.
Well done. I think there's only one more.
One more thing. Ooh, this feels all soft and floppy. I don't know what this is.
One. This is a tricky
I don't know what this is. Is it a sock? I think it might be a sock. Shall we get it out and have a look? It's not a sock. Could be.
Let's get it out and see.
Let's get it out and see. Ooh,
Ah, it's a mask.
it's a mask.
Very good. So,
I
now
got most of them.
you did very well. You did very well. That was a hard one at the end. So now it's your turn, children. Ask someone in the house to go and fill a bag with some things, and without peeking, put your hand in and see if you can use your fingers, your magic fingertips, to feel what they are. And when you've done that, perhaps you can then do it for somebody else to guess what's in the bag. So today we've learned a lot about feeling and touching. I hope you've had fun. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.